don't. You always yawn to start these off.
I always yawn before big water polo games too.
Why?
And I used to always yawn before big rapids.
That's a weird thing.
It just calms me down.
Okay, let's start.
That was a good intro, I thought.
We're not going to put that in the intro.
Okay.
All right. So, hi, welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach. This is my friend Aaron. This is a show about whitewater rafting, kayaking, and stuff. And we're out of the garage today in the field here on the beautiful Illinois River. And we want to talk about flipping a gearboat, right? So when a gearboat flips, which it sometimes does, what's a good way to handle a flip gearboat?
Well, it seems like there's three main ways people do it.
Okay.
And I guess my preference is in the current, in deep water, and just getting a bunch of people on one side, and just that way the boat can go deep into the water as it flips over.
So just let it float, get people on it with flip lines.
Yeah, and I would let it float, maybe floating in an eddy or something like that, not necessarily going downstream. Depending on the river, maybe you could do that, but it seems like with a gearboat, you need to get a lot of people on there to flip it over, particularly if it's like an 18-footer. Okay.
Do you take the oars off?
Not when I'm doing that.
Okay. You leave the oars on.
Yeah, and a lot of times what I'll do is when it's upside down, I'll take up the throw back and tie it, and then make it like a kind of like a Z, and keep tying different segments. Does that make sense? So it comes like tie it here, go over, make a loop, come back around, tie it again, make another loop, come around, make another loop, come around.
There's no way that's going to make sense. I mean, if you follow that, cool, but that's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But let's just say step number one is getting a lot of people with some kind of a line.
Yeah.
And just doing it in the current. Yep. What's number two?
The number two way is like just flipping up onto shore, where you get some lines on top and flip it over onto shore.
Okay.
And that seems like the traditional way of doing it, and that's the way that sketches me out the most. Like I've seen boats pop as they come over, and you're like worried about people getting crushed as it comes over. And then it's on. If none of those happen, then you also have the problem just getting it back into the river, which is a pain in the ass.
So I've popped a boat doing that.
Yeah. Oh, you have.
So like pulling it up on shore and it like pops on shore. And so what I try to do is I like to flip it up on the end and get it stable and push the end out. So like as it hits shore, people are pulling it with ropes, pull it up vertical like this, have them hold it, and try to get people at the ends to push the bottom out.
Wow.
And it's a little tricky, but I won't anymore flip a boat on the shore because of what you said. They can pop boats, and then you have a boat on shore, which isn't fun to deal with.
Okay. And so then the third way is flipping it away from you. So you pull up to shore.
Okay, hold on. Just so you know, we just did this. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
I'm going to show us a video at some point here of this happening, like maybe right now. And still explain it as the video rolls.
So the boat's upside down, and if we were to flip it on the shore, it's going to flip over onto some rocks. And that seemed like it would be a pain to get it back out. All those problems we talked about.
In that situation, it was a mess.
Yeah. And just the way the frame was, where everything was catching. So instead what we did is we put two lines underneath the boat and came over to this side and had two people hold them, so that when you started to lift this side up, it didn't just slide out on you.
Yeah.
And they held it, and then we pushed it up, and then it fell over into the river.
And it was just people pushing the boat up.
Yeah, which I feel is more controlled in a lot of ways. It seems scary at first because you're worried about it falling on you, but really, like, you can't even lift it if it's too heavy, so you don't even get it going. And if you get a bunch of people all pushing together, and then once you get over here and you're pushing it, it's falling away from you. Now, we did take the oars off on that, and I'm glad we took the oars off.
I like taking the oars off. It's just a lot of a mess.
And you're more likely to get it broken or catch on something.
Yeah.
I think in the deep water, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Do you worry about if it had the oars are on, it flipping back and like an oar hitting somebody?
Tentatively, I usually tell people to land under and just let the boat come down on top of you. Okay. And then usually, as they come up, they get pulled, and so they're going blade behind, and they come over like this.
Okay.
And they don't really get thrown over that hard, I find, when I flipped them over.
Okay. I mean, the way you did it was interesting. You had to get a rope under the boat. Yep. So two people on each side had to like feed a rope to somebody else, which is a little bit of work. What did that rope that went under the boat, what did that do?
That was to keep, like, if we start lifting up the side on shore, if we lift up and there's nothing pulling back on it, you lift up, it's just going to slide away from you into the
it's not actually helping flip it, it's just keeping it close to shore. So you ran the rope under that kind of holds it in place, and the people just came underneath it and push it. Could you do that with like an 18-foot gearboat, you think?
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Just like 10 people?
I forget how many we had, probably about 8 or 10 people. The other nice thing too about that is it's in deeper water there when you're pushing it away from you. So once again, the boat can go deeper into the river to flip over.
Yeah, because it's further from shore.
Versus flipping onto shore, you're having to pull higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask me like how you flip a gearboat. It's hard, and the advice I always say personally is take the oars off. I just think the oars are dangerous. They can hit somebody. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. They hit stuff underwater, and it's more center of mass to flip. So I like to get the oars off if you can, and then use one of these 3 techniques that we think are pretty good. One, just get a bunch of people on it and flip it. And like if you're, I'm a pretty big guy, so like I've seen me and one other big guy flip over a 16-foot gearboat. Like,
really?
Yeah, I mean it's possible. If you're taller, helps. Gives you more leverage. Mm-hmm. So one way is just to get on the upside down boat with your flip lines or your Z thing or whatever, flip it over. 2 is get it to shore and flip it up onto shore or towards shore. And 3 is to run a line underneath it to hold it in place and just push it back over.
And I would do 2 lines underneath, because if you
2
just do
lines
one,
underneath.
rotate.
Yep.
Yeah, rotate it one.
Yeah. So a lot of you out there have probably flipped gearboats. Maybe we missed something. Maybe you have a better idea. We'd love to. We'd love to learn from you. This is what we've seen, what we've done. It's worked effectively. But if you're an expert and you flipped a gearboat, please add a comment down below. We'd love to have a chat about what works. And of course, people that watch the video learn from those comments. So please feel free to comment on that. And yeah,
Nice. Great being out with you.
Yeah.
Out here with you in Illinois.
Yep. See you next time.